Welcome to Marina Diaries, a podcast by Aqueduct Marina. So hello and welcome to Marina Diaries. I'm Phil.
And I'm Rich.
And it's been a couple of weeks since we did the last one of these.
Yeah, it has. A couple of weeks ago we weren't too well.
No.
We both had a bit of a man flu, which is bad.
And then nothing to do with our trip to Scotland.
No, nothing to do with that, or the amount of whiskey that you had.
No, nothing to do with that either.
But then...
and then last week I think we were mad busy. It's that time of year, isn't it? It's just got a lot busier, so...
Yeah.
But that's our excuse anyway, so...
Yeah, we just didn't want to chuck something out which wasn't right.
No, so... It does mean we've got a couple of weeks of stuff to talk about though today. So we've got a few hopefully interesting subjects that we're going to go through, and we're going to start off with what's been happening. It says here in the last week, but in the last couple of weeks is the truth. So first things first, new dog walk. We talked about that previously. That's happening. They've got a mini digger and dumper truck down the field there in the woods, and they're starting to craft out that. Hopefully we'll put some pictures in the video here just to show you the work they've started to do. So that's exciting. That's going to open up more of the site to visitors and boaters and people coming on site. So that's been happening, hasn't it?
Yeah. And then also we've had what I call a couple of celebrity boats.
Yeah.
Paul and Auntie and Sebastian the dog. The dog is massively important. Off Narrowboat Morningstar, and they're off Narrowboat Life Unlocked, which is their channel.
Yeah.
They came in for a week and spent a week with us. They're good friends of ours. They're running a competition as well for Crick as well with us.
They're even on our telly in the cafe.
They're all the time on the telly down there, and I think they love seeing.
I don't think we're paying them royalties though. So
no, they've never asked. So anyway, no, they
will cut that bit out.
Yeah, they're really great guys.
Yeah,
and if you see them on the canal, say hello to them. And also Caroline and Pete from One Day More Aboard. They came in just before Paul and Anthony to get taken out of the water, and they've had a little bit of work done on their boat.
Is there some blacking done?
Yeah, they've done it themselves.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Pete's done a great job on that, and Caroline's told him that he cannot scratch it. So if you scratched it already, Pete, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's nothing to, he might have done.
Yeah.
I reckon probably within the first 100 yards.
He's probably scratched
it's just
but he is very good at
floating.
steering. Yeah. So
he paid you to say that?
He's paid me to say that.
Oh, very good. Good.
And then we've also had, this was yesterday morning, which was Monday. We had we had a net walking event done, and we were host for the South Cheshire Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And we were contacted by a lady called Courtney, and Rob, who's our MD, is heavily involved with these chambers as well. So they had about 8, 10, maybe 12 people turn up, different businesses. And we sort of walk around the site and have a bit of a meeting and a bit of breakfast together. And it's a nice...
Yeah, it's good. Again, it's good to get more people on site. We're looking at doing more events, aren't we? That kind of thing. So to expose them to what the site is, it's a 100-acre site in total. So we've got event space. So, and again, if there's anyone out there that's looking to host a local event or needs a space to run an event like that, then reach out to us. Make sure you send all your emails to Richard.
Yes, send it to me. Phil.al. No, I'm going to
So it was great to have them on site this week again, doing a bit more of that stuff. I went to a brokerage meeting last week as well. So that was a meeting for inland brokers like ourselves. It's a good opportunity for a few to get together, discuss the latest things that happen in the industry, discuss any issues that we're having or seeing in the industry. And the idea is that we all leave with a bit of a better feeling for what's going on. And hopefully we can make sure that we continue to have a robust process for people looking to buy boats. So it's people probably don't think that kind of thing happens, but it does happen. And we go and meet those, and it's unusual because we're all in competition with each other to get people's boats, sell their boats for them and do that process. But actually it's quite nice to all get in a room and be on the same page with certain subjects. So that was really good. And also Gareth, who is our broker in the company, who does the boat sales. He's currently on a British Marine / ABIA course, brokerage course in the South Coast, I think, on the Solent.
Yeah, I think he'll be heading back this very afternoon, I think.
Will he?
Yeah.
I don't know if has he passed?
Of course he has.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
If he hasn't, he's not welcome back.
No, he's not coming back.
So yeah, Gaz has been doing that. I went to a brokerage meeting last week, so that was interesting to see what's going on in the industry. Nothing, we touched what's going on in the industry in previous episodes.
Yeah.
What else is going on this week?
We did Callie, the cafe manager, and Emma did a bit of an impromptu sort of St. Patrick's Day kind of party, literally just for a few hours, just for some moorers. And it was great to see there's probably, I don't know, 20, 25 moorers there, and a couple of people from the campsite came over, and a couple of regulars that come into the cafe. I think there are a couple of train drivers. They were such nice guys. Callie invited them just to come down. So they had 2 or 3 hours with us, and we had some lights going and a bit of music. And
I've seen a picture of you with some lovely fetching green glasses on.
Yeah, you'll probably put that back here, will you?
I won't make the public see that.
No.
If they want to see it, we can send it privately for a small fee. But
I'm the one the money back.
Good evening. And
really
like you said, good to get people.
Yeah,
we've always done our events for moorers and that, but we are trying to encourage more outside people to come in as well, and people from the local area. So again, look out for that. We've got a few. We've got a load of summer music events as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got. It starts at Easter, and there's a sort of break for a few weeks, but then there's 15 weeks of live entertainment. So every Saturday between 3 and 5. This is anybody.
Is that you? Is it you?
I'm playing the guitar. Yeah. No. These are proper people.
Proper people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got in there early before Glastonbury could get them. That's why Glastonbury.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think they released their headline list the week after. I mean,
yeah, they had to. We nicked the rest.
You snooze, you lose, I guess.
Dead right. So we've got those coming. So that's going to be
Saturday afternoons during the summer.
Saturday afternoons in the summer between 3 and 5. Anybody can come. You can have a boat. You could never want a boat. You could just want to go somewhere and just have a nice easy afternoon.
Could be fans of the this.
Of this. Yeah. So that's all 3 of you. And we've got where they're going to go. It's going to have a nice sort of grass bank and that, so everybody can see and enjoy the music. And
no, it should be a really good event, and we're looking to do more events like that. Get local musicians down. It's make the most of the beautiful site that we've got here at Aqueduct Marina. And speaking of that, the sun is shining today, which is lovely. It's actually been quite nice weather.
Yeah, boating weather, you'd say.
Boating weather, yeah. So, and we've been out on a couple of boats today. I think, people keep their eyes on social media. They might see some footage of that, but they're not narrowboats.
They're not narrowboats. No, they are our trip boats. So you can. I'm going to say book them because I'm from Stoke. I say book, but you say book. And you can do this online on our website, and you can take them out for a morning or an afternoon slot. You can fit, I think, about 5 people on them.
Yeah.
It's 5 people. And they're electric boat, and we've done some really good footage this morning. It looks really good.
It was fun, wasn't it? It was a bit cold.
A bit cold,
because of the wind. But
it looks like the Med, but at 2 degrees. They are really they're good fun boats, and you can go out down the canal. You can moor up along the canal. They're dead easy to spin around. They're very easy to use.
And hopefully people are just looking to. You might be that you're looking to get into boating, looking to get out on the water. Never done it before. Just want to do something different with your family for the day. So that's the idea of those, isn't it? So that was a bit of fun.
Bit of fun, yeah. And the footage filmed by Joseph and his wing girl Faith will be all over social media at some point.
Hopefully, as long as it was usable. So that was today. And then there's a couple of other sort of industry-wide, nationwide campaign type things that we were going to mention. So the first one's a very somber one, I'll be honest with you, which is, unfortunately, there's been a few people, a couple of people, I should say, across the UK that have lost their lives after falling into marinas or waterways once under the influence of alcohol. So there's been a Don't Drink and Drown campaign that's been launched. So we'd recommend that people, especially if you're on a boat or near the waterways, go and check that out. Unfortunately, if you're under the influence of alcohol near the waterways, it can affect your ability to get out of the water, etc.
Yeah.
So please do go and check out that campaign. It's really important to keep people safe. It gives people a few pointers on things to, good practices, should we say. And we were thinking about it. We were talking about it as well here at the marina. As we're a Tyre marina, as we mentioned previously, 5 Gold Anchor Marina. That means we've got to conform to certain standards about the number of ladders and safety points. So any good marina will be doing that kind of thing. So what we said is our advice to you guys as well would be, when you get to your marina of choice, or if you're near the waterways, just one of the first things you should do, just check where those points are. We'll check where the ladders are to get out of the water, life rings, etc. So just check that out. Check out the campaign. Like I said, it's a bit more of a somber one, but it is an important one.
Yeah, it's important.
And look it up. And then the second sort of similar theme, sort of nationwide thing, is the Canal and Rivers Trust have launched an independent commission into boat licence fees. So they've launched a review to assess their pricing structure. The idea is they want to make sure it's fair and sustainable pricing structures. This is an independent commission. If you go on the CRT's website, I think it is, you get the chance to give your input on what you think about the licensing structure, the licensing fees, and give your feedback. So it's your opportunity to give that feedback if you're a boater. And there's also companies like ourselves, marinas, can give that feedback as well. So that's out there. That's the Canal Rivers Trust Independent Commission on Boat License Fees. So when we were talking about that before we did this, because believe it or not, we do actually plan these.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Slightly. So we thought, well, that was actually quite a good point for us to maybe talk about the essential paperwork and things like that you need when buying and owning a canal boat.
Yeah, that's
so we'll jump into that. So, Rich, let's talk about the essential paperwork that you're going to need or you're going to come across when owning or buying a canal boat.
Yeah, the first bit you're going to come across is the proof of ownership. So the bill of sale that's going to come off the vendor, so to speak, which proves that they actually bought it. Because you don't get a V5 like you do with a car, like a government-based form, if you like. This is the golden document you need. It proves that the last person bought it off the person before, that bought off the person before.
But yeah.
Irrespective of the value and the numbers and everything else, it's that document that shows that they've almost got the proof to sell it to you, and it's your proof that you bought it.
Yeah, if you're buying for a broker, they should have. There's a few things we're going to talk about here, but that's one of the things that they would have checked.
Yeah,
hopefully, any good broker would have checked that the previous person had that bill of sale and it was their boat as best as they can ascertain, and then they should obviously produce that document for you when you buy the boat. It'll have some of the boat details in there.
Yeah.
Yes, and also like the previous owner details, your details, and you both sign it. So it's an important document.
Yeah.
Like you said,
it's ultimately a receipt.
Yeah, it's basically a receipt, but it's some proof that this thing belongs to you.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing you would come across.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into a little bit of techie stuff now.
Yeah.
So brace. The next thing we're going to talk about is the boat itself should have an RCD or an RCR. So RCD is Recreational Craft Directive, which is basically a set of European rules that about how a boat should be built safely. They became what they call RCR after Brexit. So basically it's the same thing, but it was just made UK law and they changed one of the letters, changed them. So it's Recreational Craft Regulations rather than Recreational Craft Directive.
Yeah.
So this piece of this documentation, basically, like I said, it proves that it's been built safely, environmentally, or has certain environment things in there. And there's other requirements like CE marked plates, declaration of conformity, and a builder's plate to say who built it. Again, all body of evidence that this boat was built to the correct standards. So a lot of brokerages you look on, it'll say RCD yes or no, or they'll have that information in there. So that means that if it says yes, it means the broker's done their due diligence and there's enough evidence to suggest that this boat was built to the right standard and all the paperwork's correct. Mm-hmm. They can still sell it. There's some circumstances in which a broker can't sell it legally still, but they can still sell it without an RCD, but they have to evidence that.
Yeah, it's got to be marketed very clear from the outset.
It should be marketed to say,
explained.
Our research has said that we can't prove that this boat was built to the right standards. That doesn't mean it wasn't, but it means if they can't prove it and they can't justify or they can't satisfy themselves, then they should be put in that they've been unable to ascertain that. Yeah. It's important to say that these rules we're on about here, these RCD, RCR rules, only apply to boats that were built after the 16th of June 1998. So if your boat's before that, doesn't apply. And there's nothing you can do that brings them into complying. There is a couple of exceptions. I think if you've got an old working boat and you convert it to leisure use, then it's the first time it's been used as a leisure craft. that would then need to be assessed under a completely different set of rules to what it was originally built. But generally speaking, anything after 16th of June 1998, that's when these rules apply. There's a separate little thing in here as well, not a little thing, another thing which is has the boat had any major craft conversions or MCC? So there's been something fundamentally changed with that boat. So a good example would be if it's gone from a diesel engine to an electric motor, you've fundamentally changed the propulsion system of that boat.
Yeah.
So that may then be a major craft conversion. If something like that is done, the boat will have to be reassessed under what they call a PCA, or a post-construction assessment, and that will then reassess that boat and recertify that boat. I think they issue a new CE plate with a slightly adjusted craft number on there. So again, a lot of technical stuff in there. Best thing you can do though is it's one of the many reasons why it's sometimes better to buy through a broker, because they should have done that work. So if you're buying for a broker, you can discuss those things. The idea of this section is that we want to get some of these terminology, some of these words out there so that you know what to ask for. So that's basically covering off the proof of ownership, which is the bill of sale that we talked about before, and then a bit about the RCD documentation that needs to be established when you're buying a boat.
I think just on that, when you've got a good broker in front of you, they should be willing to talk about definitely the proof of ownership and definitely about the RCD and stuff.
Yeah.
And if you've got any questions, even if you sort of research the sort of terminology and it gives you a gobbledygook on Google, speak to your broker about it. So, because a good educated broker should know all about it and be very transparent with you. Yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah.
And yes, we've got the proof of ownership, because they shouldn't really, it's one of those things without it, you can't prove it. So those are real critical and good advice things.
And it's just those little, you might hear these abbreviations, these little terms when you're buying a boat, and if you don't know what they mean, then you don't know, and you don't know what to ask about them. So hopefully it gives people a little bit more background into these terms. So you've brought your boat, the paperwork was correct, you've got all that.
Yeah.
The next thing, we've talked about it in previous episodes, but it's licensing, isn't it? That's probably one of the next documents or pieces of paper you're going to come across.
Yeah, there's typically two types of license, which like I said, we have touched on, so we won't sort of bore your brains out with it, but it's
we'll try not
to. I mean, we'll just use Canal River Trust, because that's the water navigation that we're on. Always check with the navigation anyway, just in case you are on a navigation where different licensing does.
Yeah, because it's the Environment Agency.
Yeah.
And EA, I think the
Bridgewater Canal has its own license, but the majority are Canal and River Trust. And if you're a continuous cruiser, you are deemed to use the canal and be a heavy user of the canal. So you're going to pay a bit more. It works out on a 60-foot boat, roughly about £100 a year more to be a continuous cruiser.
And then there's a slight, we're talking about narrowboats, aren't we? Because that's what we deal in, or deal with, I should say. But there is a slight surcharge for wider boats. So anything over 2.16 metres, there's a 13% surcharge. And anything over 3.24 metres, there's 26% more.
Yeah.
But for our craft, like you said, there's two main types of license, and it's slightly more for a continuous cruiser. Because I guess it's deemed that they put more pressure on
more on the network, basically. I mean,
more usage.
More use. With CRT, I think you can sign up to pay it monthly, I think quarterly, 6 monthly. You can sign up online. I think you can still do it by check and post. Yeah. And I think you can still do it by old-fashioned phone call.
Yeah.
When you dial a number and speak to somebody. So I'm sure they still do that with CRT. So they make it very, very easy and almost give you no excuse not to have one. And there is more and more towpath walkers, as we call them, that are employed by CRT to basically walk along with an iPad, punch in the index number of the boat, and it will show all the details if it's licensed, and I think if it's insured as well.
Yeah,
I think it flags up both.
And they're sort of the enforcement officers, aren't they? And they're going out there doing that. We see them here now and again checking. Many marinas like ourselves as well. It's in our terms and conditions that if you're on board here, you have to have a license. It has to be insured. You have to have a relevant boat safety, which is something we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
So again, it might be a stipulation of your marina. But ultimately, if you're on a waterway somewhere in the UK, there is almost certainly a licensing body or a regulator that you're going to need to get a license from.
The only sorry Phil, the only time don't need a license. If you're on hard standing, like we've got a lot of hard standing here, and you're going to be out for a month or two, a year or two, whatever you want to do, you can de-license your boat because
it's private land.
Because it's private land, you're not in the water. So if you're buying a boat that's a bit of a project, and it's always easy to do it on the land anyway, because you can get your car, van, whatever next to it and do it up. You won't have to pay a license, and you've still got to be insured. In our T's and C's, I think it's third party at least.
Yes.
But when it comes to license, because it's a bit like a car, if you take a car off the road and park it on a private drive, you'd SORN the tax regulation. So you're just not paying the road tax because you are not putting any use on the system. So if you are thinking of taking your boat out for, say, the winter, like we have a lot of overseas customers who will come over in the summer, use the boat, license it for a few months, pull out for the winter, put it on the hard standing, and then cancel the license because they just don't need it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So there's too many licenses. There's some slightly different pricing stuff. Again, lots of information on the internet, lots of information out there. Speak to your marina, speak to the CRT. They can advise on that. And like we said at the start of this episode, there's actually an independent commission at the moment about boat license fees. So if you've got an opinion on it, which a lot of people do, have your say on it and do that. And so that is the licensing aspect. Then one of the other things you're going to have to do then, whilst you own a boat over the years, is boat safety. So boat safety certificate.
Yeah, it's almost like a car having an MOT, but a boat having an MOT, but it's only once every 4 years. It's designed to make your boat safe for you, but also surrounding boats safe, because then your boat's deemed to be safe. Main areas of focus are sort of gas and electrics and fuel, that kind of thing. But like I say, it is once every 4 years. And, don't be surprised if you end up buying a boat and it's still got 2 years left on a boat safety. And if in 2 years' time it fails and nothing's changed, because legislation changes probably down to an unfortunate incident somewhere, which has meant they've had to make a change to the legislation to make them comply to be more safe, really. Yeah,
that's it. So we do get that quite often, don't we? Where somebody says, well, it was fine 4 years ago. What's the problem now? The regulations change, things on your boat get older.
Yeah.
So it does happen. Everything you can overcome. It's not a matter of most things are fixable. And quite a lot of them are small things, like you said. It might just be that now they need a certain number on a pipe.
It's a number pipe, or it's like if your fire extinguishers. I mean, the most common sort of things really are your sort of fire extinguishers and CO bits and pieces. But like with your fire extinguishers, they'll be date coded and have a gauge on there to sort of say whether they're empty, full, good, bad, and different. I think.
Yeah.
So over 4 years and over time, they will deteriorate.
And they have different ratings, and you need a certain amount for the size of your boat as well. So so to go on to that now, common reasons for failure, fire extinguishers you see, CO alarms you mentioned, we see that quite a lot. It's a very simple thing, but a lot of boats don't have them fitted.
No, and these things will save people's lives. I mean, when we can, we will do a bit of a giveaway on these as well.
There's a charity I'm sure it's a charity, I can't think of the name of it now, but they gave us a few CO alarms to give out to our moorers, which we've done. I'm not sure if we've got any more of them left, but I think they're doing it across the country in different places. They're not a lot to buy.
No, it's one of those things, and if the critical thing is you position it right in the boat as well. It's not.
Yeah, because sometimes they go, "Oh, I've got one fitted," but
it's in the wrong place.
It's either completely the wrong place, and
it's too high, too low, whatever, or it's in a cupboard, or it's behind in a wardrobe or something. It's got to be.
It's got to be in the right place, right position. Yeah. Again, a boat safety examiner may give you the advice on that.
Yeah.
99% of alarms that you buy in the fitting instructions, it'll tell you where to put it as well. So that's important when you're doing that. The other common failures we see are batteries, isn't it?
Yeah, batteries just not being secured. So not as in secured, as in locked away so they can't be stolen. Just secured in their sort of location, if you like.
Just the movement of a minute. They shouldn't be able to move really in any direction, forward, backwards, sideways, and up and down as well.
Yeah.
So normally again a reasonably easy fix. Chock the batteries with a bit of wood to stop that side to side, forward and backward movement. Put a strap over the top. Normally, like you can strap down like a wooden cover as well, so that helps cover the terminals, which is another requirement.
Yeah.
So that's it's very common that we do see that.
But really, really common. And then even on relatively new boats, one of the most common things we see is stoves that move too much. You're not going to sort of cruise your boat like a Formula One car, but you're gonna, when you're in locks and the boat's being bashed about a bit, the stove is a heavy thing with your flue, and it can weaken the sort of, like say, the putty seals, the sort of cement seals.
On a steel flue, there's the top and the bottom seal, which would be rope or putty or something like that. So, like you said, if there is movement in the stove because it's not secured down properly, that could crack that. Could lead to CO2 getting into the cabin space if it fails, or the flue itself is a bit weak and thin and it cracks. So there is a reason, like most of these things, there is a reason behind them. Some of them have transitioned over from the coastal boats, so you might think it's less relevant for inland boats that are a bit more steady, a bit more stable, but most of them have got good reasons behind them, and ultimately they're designed to keep you as a user of the boat safe, and also all the others around are safe as well. So we see that, don't we? And that's it really. So fire extinguishers, CO alarms, batteries, fire stoves not secure properly, they're big things. So one of the other things as well to probably talk about is, or one of the common failures that we see with boat safety is the gas side of things, isn't it? It's quite heavy on the gas side. Yeah.
I mean, gas and gas safety on a boat is really paramount to safety. I mean, you do see some boats that have exploded. You can go on the internet and find boats that have exploded. And a good gas engineer, a lot of the BSS engineers are gas engineers as well. And you get a good one and they will help you and guide you through all what you need to do and make it nice and safe and compliant. Whatever you do, don't skimp on the gas works. And only get somebody who knows exactly. You wouldn't
think I've done this in a house, so I know what I'm doing. We see that with electrics as well. Completely different regulations, completely different framework. So where possible in that, we don't do gas work internally.
We won't do gas.
We won't touch it because it's a specialist job and you need to be specially registered and all the rest of it. So it's something. It is a common failure. Again, all things that normally can be overcome. But if you're building a boat, check what the regulations are so that you're building to the right spec. And when you're boat safety done, that is something they should test and they should report back. And again, like everything else we talked about, it's really important that that's right. Because ultimately, you could cause harm very easily. You're in an enclosed space with gas.
Explosions don't go well in boats.
No, but it's also just the
fumes. It's the breathing in.
So that's really, so fire extinguishers, CO2 alarms, batteries, fires, like stoves, and the gas side. That's where we'll probably see most failures in that world. So hopefully, I think that's pretty much it for us today, what we've got on this subject. So we've covered off in that bit there, basically the paperwork you need when you buy a boat, the proof of ownership and bill of sale. Talked about RCD, RCR, what that means, what to look out for. Hopefully, again, it's just got a few of these terminologies out there and you know what questions to ask a bit more. Obviously, we talked about licensing. If you're on a body of water in the UK, you're going to need a license. So check out what that is. And we talked about that a few times. And then we talked about boat safety, which is basically like an MOT for a boat, as you said. It's a nice way of putting it. Every 4 years, they check the safety systems. You need to get it done. Find the proper safety examiner and
get a good run. I think all the stages of what we just spoke about, all the sort of important forms, a good brokerage, if you're looking to buy one, will hold your hand all the way through, or a good boatyard with the right knowledge should be able to assist you with anything to do with a failed. I've said it before, these boats are just metal and wood screwed together to make the shape of a boat, and anything is fixable. But just touching on the user specialist, wherever you can, get somebody who knows exactly what they're doing to do some of these jobs.
And you can do it yourself. The information's out there. What we're just saying is, hopefully it'll be more easy. It should be more easy with people that do it day in, day out. So get good advice. If you're unsure, ask the questions. And if you've got the right people around you, they're going to give you hopefully the right information. So hopefully that's give people a bit more information, sort of unlock some of the terminology that's commonly used.
Don't be afraid to ask your broker or boatyard.
No, you shouldn't at all, no. I might even ask you sometimes.
Oh, I'll just refer back to these names.
So that's it for this week. Thank you very much for everyone that's watching. If you've got any questions, like we always say, please put them in the comments. If there's any subjects you'd like us to cover, again, put it in the comments. We will try and get to them. There's been a few questions we've had about specific things on boats, like weed hatches and blacking of them and things like that. So we are actually going to do a couple of videos, aren't we, outside as well? And
yeah, it's just a bit easier, because as opposed to us two just sitting in here looking at you, we're going to get the camera on the yard so we can show you the terminology. So even if you've got a boat and it's never been out and somebody says, what about this, what about that? We're going to show you just on some boats what these things are and what they mean.
Go out in the wild.
We'll go out in the wild, yeah, but we're not going out if it's raining.
No, the only reason we're agreeing to it now is because it's sunshiny and a bit warmer.
We're fair weather people.
Fair weather people. So so that's what we're going to do in future episodes. Like I said, if there's anything anybody wants to see or any questions they want answering, even about the stuff that we talked about today, then please get in touch and like and subscribe.
Here.
Well done. So we'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you very much.